Well, while many space experts believe the next frontier to be continued in space exploration is to send humans to Mars, the Trump administration is signaling it's putting its focus on the moon. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence this week said the White House is going to look at sending astronauts to the moon again. For more on this, National Geographic astronomy columnist Andrew Fazekas joins us from Montreal. Andrew, the idea of sending astronauts to the moon, a good move?
I think it's going to get a lot of traction from the space community. It's something that's been stirring amongst a lot of the players around the world, government and private industry, that it makes sense for us to be going to the moon first as a stepping stone. And that's what the Vice President Pence really laid out at the National Space Council meeting, the first since 1993. It was disbanded back then by President Bush, and it was through executive order reinstated by Trump. And it basically, it's the major players in the U.S. Private and federal in the space industry are saying that yes, this is the right move, is for us to use the moon as a stepping stone for us to be able to build a foundation, maybe lunar bases on the moon. And that would be the jumping off point to going on to Mars further. And it looks like it's gaining traction with the private industry, like SpaceX, Boeing, Lockheed Martin. They all recently announced in the last few weeks their ideas of how they're going to build the rocket boosters and also the space stations that will allow us to build that platform of human presence that will take us to Mars eventually.
And I guess each of those corporations that you just mentioned would benefit financially from the U.S. taxpayer dollars that would be spent to engage in a pursuit such as this.
Definitely, you know, when we're talking about the space industry, this is where it's going to be going. It will be, you know, it'll have to take that first steps of being able to land on the moon and build those foundations for us to be able to go onto Mars and beyond.
So why do you think it's taken this administration and not previous administrations to figure out that this is the right way to go?
Well, it's the typical politics. Every 4 years, the administration changes, and NASA just hasn't had that compass of where they want to go. We've been flipping between going to the asteroid belt, going to Mars, back to the moon, bringing an asteroid to the lunar orbit. It's something that I think the private industry is really taking the lead now. If we're looking towards SpaceX, for instance, as really revolutionizing the human presence in space and the rocketry, the basic technological foundation that we need to get farther beyond low Earth orbit. So it's going to be really interesting to see, because if it's true what we're seeing at the National Space Council this week, they're going to be really bringing in the private industry into the game like never before. And that might spell for a great success in the future.
Well, Andrew, that's where we're going to have to leave it for now, but we'll talk more, no doubt. Astronomy columnist, National Geographic, Andrew Fazekas, as always, have a great day.
Thank you very much. Clear skies.